Deepen your understanding of what it means to use a wide range of values and practice making various values by creating these two value spectrums. Each one should be in a 3 centimeter by 21 centimeter box. So I'm going to measure 3 centimeters down my space and then 21 centimeters across. Three centimeters up, and then join the box. So I've got a 3 by 21 centimeter rectangular box. Now I'm going to measure 3 centimeter increments starting on the left edge. And just make little tick marks. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And then I'll just use my ruler and make a line straight down. So essentially what I've done is I've divided this 21 centimeter rectangle into 7 squares. 7 times 3 is 21. So now I want to make a spectrum from dark to light in value. Here's a finished product so you can see what I'm going for. In my far left box, I should use the pencil that I have that has the softest graphite. So that's the one that says on the back of it, on the one end, 6B. So I'll use the 6B in that box 1. I'll use the 6B again in box 2, but I'll just vary my pressure. I won't press down as hard. That's how we can change value with graphite. When I get to my third box from the left, I'll use the next darkest pencil, which means it has quite a bit of graphite in it still, but not quite as much as the 6B. That's the 4B. I'll use my 4B again in the middle box. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in box 5, 6, 7, I'll use the 2B pencil that I have. So in this set of 3 pencils, the 2B would provide the lightest value. It would have the hardest graphite. Sometimes I like to start in the middle actually, because it's very relative. If I start too light or too dark on one end, then I might have trouble making 7 distinctly different values. And that's what I'm attempting to do here. It's very important that when you're doing this, that your pencils are very sharp so that you can use the side of the graphite. So you have lots of surface area. And I'm going to hold the pencil like this and use the side of the graphite. So I'm laying down what I would consider to be a middle value. I want to fill this square with a consistent value. I don't want it to get darker or lighter in different parts of the square in that section. So that's my middle value. So now if I go one to the left, I need to make this value darker because I want it to be progressively getting darker towards the left of center. So not only do I have to lay down more value, I have to cover up more white of the paper, I also have to press harder. And that will create a darker mark. But I know that I have still 2 sections to go, so I don't want to make it too dark. I don't want to make this box 3 too dark. These should be slow changes, but noticeable. So you should notice a change in value from box 4 to 3. Now I can proceed to box 2 and I'll use my 6B pencil. And 6B is darker than 4B, so I'm just going to be careful not to press too hard because I know that I have to still create one more darker box. Box 1. Remember to lay in a consistent value. There shouldn't be changes in value within the box. This would represent maybe when you're shading in one value inside a shape that you've created in your artwork. Okay, and then box 1, still use the 6B, but press even harder, and that should give me a darker value than what I have in box 2. So these are distinct changes from one box to the next. When I'm finished with this, I'll work on the far right section. Now, the far right section is more difficult, so just be cautious about it. You have to really control the pressure that you put on the pencil. Before I move on, though, to box 5, I just want to make sure that I have enough contrast between box 1 and 2. Sometimes when you're working on these, your hand will start to smudge a previously made value, so I'm just going to lay some scrap paper down so I can rest my hand on the center of my spectrum box and not smudge the graphite. Okay, I think I'm happy with the contrast between 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3, and 3 and 4. So now I'll switch to my 2B and create my value in box 3, which needs to be lighter than box 4. Okay. If I don't think that I've made a light enough value, there are things like a kneadable eraser. So kneadable erasers are erasers that you can pull apart and knead to clean. And then you can take that eraser and stamp down and lift some of the value off, or some of the graphite off rather. So then you can maybe just start over almost. Okay, so you see what I mean? Like, I have to be really careful here with the pressure that I'm putting on the pencil. So now I've moved into box 2 and I'm barely putting any pressure on the paper. And then in box 1, it's almost like it's just the white of the paper. It's just like barely anything there. Maybe I'll go back to box 3 and just darken it a bit. And sometimes if you darken one box, you have to darken the one beside it. Okay, so I've got 7 different values ranging from dark to light, and many middle values in between.